love perspective or we're coming from a truth perspective, each will see the world differently. And where does God kind of lead us in that way? Well, one of the first things is to remember, from a Christian church perspective, is that love is always first and then truth is always first in time. So we have to know stuff. That's why we go to school. If you musicians, why you learn scales. You have to learn all that discipline that comes from the truth side of the ledger over here. And that's really important. Religious truth is the same way. It's incredibly important to learn doctrine, to learn the Ten Commandments, to read the Lord's Word, just real basic stuff, real basic spiritual stuff, because that will establish over here a certain framework. And interestingly, what happens over time is a big shift. And this is a somewhat shockingly blunt statement. And this is from the book Secrets of Heaven, 2063. Ultimately, truth disappears. That's a fascinating statement. Except as the medium that transmits the light of goodness. In this way, truth becomes both heavenly and spiritual. Only in goodness, which is strictly a matter of neighborly love, is the Lord present. So the same process unites us with the Lord, and through goodness or neighborly love, we receive the gift of conscience. Conscience then leads us to think truly and act rightly, etc., etc. Beautiful line. And I love that line, like ultimately truth disappears. And now what does that mean? That means that as we go from this shift to being really oriented towards truth, to moving over and being really oriented towards love, is truth kind of gets us there. It helps to steer the ship. And then eventually the ship has its own momentum. It goes its own way. Just imagine a great musician. You start out over here learning the scales. You learn them, you repeat them, you repeat them, you repeat them, you repeat them until you have all that down. And then over time, that morphs into something that's far more reflection of the love of the musician, far more improvisational, maybe, far different way of seeing the world, far different shift. And what does this mean for our lives? Well, it means something pretty simple. Is we can practice this all the time. And the first part, again, don't be poo-pooing about truth. Like, truth is a good thing. There is such a thing as truth. Life is not relative. You can look at Sunday service. I talked about that some. It really matters to have those sort of that framework over here. It's really important. And that kind of builds the house. And now after we've built the house, we actually have to live in it to bring life to it. And how could that look? Well, it's one way I think we can practice it is we can constantly try to see through things through the eye of love, to try to see deeply to within something and be like, okay, I'm going to see this from a perspective of love. I'm going to see through the truth of the matter to what's underneath. And that's where we get to burnt toast. A simple analogy. Imagine, you and your partner are laying there in bed and a little one comes in, grandkid or kid or niece or nephew, whoever, they're trying to do something nice for you. And they bring in this breakfast for you, serve you breakfast in bed. And you notice that the toast is burnt. Now, again, I don't think anybody in the right mind outside of Scrooge is going to go like, hey, you burned the toast. No, they're going to be absolutely thrilled that this person thought of them, this young one, and here's this toast, and who cares if it's burnt? The truth is it's burnt. Got it. Yep, that's the truth. That's over here. But when we see through the eyes of love, when we see over here, we see something very different than a piece of burnt toast. And that's the way we want to start to see the world. Because it's a beautiful thing. It doesn't try to say that the truth is not the truth. It's just trying to say there's a deeper way to see it here that is actually far more enlivening. It reminds me of when it just popped into my mind. It was a great little meme I saw a number of years ago, and it said, no adult doesn't answer a toy phone handed to him by a 3-year-old. And I like that. A 3-year-old hands you a toy phone, you're going to answer the phone. It's not a phone. That's the truth of the matter. But you're going to see it with love. And that's what we're supposed to do in our lives, and to really do that. So today, you'll probably be presented with a figurative or maybe even a literal piece of burnt toast today. And can you just for a minute take time to acknowledge, yeah, it's true, the toast is burnt. But more importantly, look more deeply to it. Look at the love that's underneath and see if you can see that, because I think that's how we start to practice heaven, and that's how we start to move forward in our lives. And it's really all about this cooperating thing. That's what God's really trying to do. God's really trying to cooperate with us, to walk with us, and to give us these new ways of seeing. And and he allows us to discover them. I mean, how good is that? And we get to have these big, like, oh, I hadn't realized you could do it that way. So I wish you a great day in figuring out, yes, you can do it that way today. So friends, what we're going to do now is we're going to shift gears. And we're going to shift gears with a little prayer, a little meditation, a little prayer, a little blessing. And so let's get started on that. So let's take a little breath. A little meditation. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends. Unfortunately, my phone is out of juice, so I'm not going to answer comments right now. I will be answering them shortly. However, please feel free to go ahead and leave a written comment, and I'll get to them this morning in due course. And with all that, friends, wishing you all the best. And just a final little note here about your generous support of New Church Live. Like our content? It's funded by viewers like you. Please consider becoming a sustaining supporter of New Church Live today.